I'm Rick Colson. I am from Portland, Oregon, and currently I'm the chair of the CoServe board, and that's how I'm currently involved. I've been impacted by servant leadership in many ways. In the first way was even before I knew about CoServe or even had a word for servant leadership. I had a boss at the company I work at, Intel, who went to extraordinary lengths to care for employees, and even when he was unhappy with someone's performance, I saw the way he took much time to care for that employee and coach them and help them. And I saw that he put his employees first and did several things to sacrifice some of his own good for his employees. And I was struck by that. Later on, I got involved with CoServe and learned more about the theory behind that, or the names for it. Learned the name servant leadership. And it's had a big impact on me. And I've tried to adopt that where I work at Intel. I, at times, have managed teams of 70 or 80 engineers. And one of the things that really is exciting to me is our group has gotten a reputation for servant leadership, and people I don't even know or barely know that are in my group that are new, I've seen them put a sign that says servant leadership over their desk, and I hadn't even talked to them, and then I realized that the servant leadership that I was trying to imperfectly model was having an impact throughout my group, and that the people who worked for me wanted to become servant leaders.
That around the world needs good leaders.
My name is Anna Kabardina, and I'm an international staff member of CoServe and a leadership team member. And I work with CoServe in Kazakhstan, representing CoServe at the Kazakh-American Free University. Our university has a long history of relationship with CoServe because it was the first place where CoServe started its servant leadership programs back in 2005. And since that time, we've had over 130 students being trained in the servant leadership program, and over 40 faculty and staff members of our university. And our desire and goal is for the servant leadership culture to permeate our university culture, and for us to be an example in our university and society of true leadership. And we have many stories of our students becoming real leaders in their families, in their jobs, in their society. And I'm very happy to share a couple of these stories. For example, one of our graduates of our program, Balzat, she went on to work as a flight attendant for a major airline, and with her servant leadership attitude, she continued to serve in her job and report that her life was changed and her way of thinking was changed by the values and principles of servant leadership. Another example is Ramil Kabdualiyev, who is now working with the public school system reform in Kazakhstan, and he's mentoring other mentors for public school teachers, helping them to implement some of these reforms. And the company running the project has asked him to develop a leadership training program for school principals. So the influence of servant leadership is really spreading all over Kazakhstan and beyond. Our graduates and alumni, they're all over the world now. And we're very happy to see our students reporting back how their lives now focus on serving people and creating communities wherever they are.
Частью нашего руководства КАСУ, знаете, что Беларусь является вице-президентом КАСУ. Ваша ответственность является сейчас проектом просто.
Hello, my name is Valentina. I'm from Kyiv, Ukraine. I work for Boris Grinchenko, Kyiv University, where we started almost 10 years ago a smaller program on servant leadership, and it developed, grew to bigger and bigger formats, so that now we have the whole university transformed its culture. For me personally, servant leadership was also a life-changing idea. I re-evaluated how I work with my students, how I interact with them, and how I build relations, personal relations with all of those students. What amazes me most about CoServe in general and the projects we are doing for our students is how much their lives are transformed. Whenever they finish our program, a leadership academy, an ISLP group, a mentors program, they always say, they honestly share how transformed they are, how deeply touched they are by the ideas of personal development, trust, mutual respect, and building community. Because these are the topics, and these are the actions, and these are the ideas that we embrace wholeheartedly from servant leadership community.
Очень приятно побывать сегодня в таком университете. И я думаю, что нас...
Здравствуйте, я Елена Бондарева, проректор Киевского университета имени Бориса Гринченко. И вот в мои полномочия как проректора входит очень интересная функция развития лидерства в нашем университете. С CoServe наш университет сотрудничает уже 9 лет, и когда мы оцениваем, что же у нас за этот период изменилось, то мы можем это сказать одним емким словом: у нас изменилось все. Вы знаете, мы думали, что лидерские программы нужно начинать со студентов, что прежде всего молодому поколению нужно рассказывать о лидерстве, о том, как центрировать собою хорошие процессы, позитивные изменения, добрые дела. Но на самом деле оказалось, что изменения мы должны начинать с себя, с управленческой команды, с ключевых менеджеров университета. И очень сложно было людей, которым под 50, за 50, импульсировать, сесть за парту, учиться, коммуницировать между собой на уровне обсуждения важных вопросов, этих вопросов, которые оказались не очень важными. Но, тем не менее, мы преодолели вот этот внутренний психологический барьер. Тренинги и обучение ректората у нас стало системой, и это стало влиять на то, что мы стали обучать команды факультетов, институтов, что к нам присоединялись студенты. У нас сейчас студенты представлены во всех органах управления университета, начиная от ректората, ученого совета. У нас сейчас со студентами не вертикальные взаимоотношения, а по сути горизонтальные. Они у нас широко участвуют в обсуждении всех проблем, мы прислушиваемся к их инициативе, и таким образом они стали не по разные стороны учебной аудитории или взаимодействия в университете, а по сути мы поменяли модель работы университета на модель взаимодействия, понимания, смены стереотипов. И вот мы счастливы, что стали благодаря этому мобильнее, интенсивнее, моложе. А наши студенты счастливы, что они не противостоят нам. Им не нужно с нами бороться, им нужно с нами разговаривать, что мы успешно и делаем. Спасибо, CoServe.
Конференция трудового коллектива, где отчитывается за год наш ректор. И коллектив тайный был...
Hi, my name is Dan, and this is my wife Dina, and we both work in the Philippines at one of CoServe's partners called Shepherd's Home of Servant Leadership. And Shepherd's Home is really a unique place where we live together as an intentional, authentic community. We desire to intentionally be together, share our lives together, and to be open and authentic with each other. some of the things that distinguish our life at Shepherd's Home is the value of safety. We want to be a welcoming place where when people come there, and even for each other, we feel safe, we feel accepted, we are allowed to be our true selves, to take off our masks, and to think about who we really are. That's a special thing about, we believe, about servant leadership and about what we're doing at Shepherd's Home. And as part of that, we want people to be so safe and so accepted that they can start to think about their purpose, who they really are, who God has created them to be. And it's interesting because in the Philippines, many people never take the time to think about that. They just sort of follow the crowd, do what other people expect them to do, get jobs that other people tell them are good jobs. And we want to be a place where every person is having the time and the space to think about who they really are, what their purpose really is. And my wife is actually an interesting example of that, because through her experience at Shepherd's Home, she's figured out a lot of what God's calling her to do and her purpose. You want to share about that?
Sure, that is really true. I'm very thankful for servant leadership because I have finally discovered what I feel like I'm called to do. And at the moment, as part of Shepherd's Home, I am helping the team operate a community center. And in that center, it is a place where we welcome people and be safe, to be themselves, and at the same time being able to help them discover and use their skills or whatever potentials they have.
As we discover our purpose.
My name is Lou Hawley. I work in Chiang Mai, Thailand with the Karen Leadership Development Program. And our program is set up for Hill Tribe students who come to the city for university. Karen students have a unique problem when they want to get educated because the Thai society does not accept them. They are ethnically different, their language skills are different, and they look different. So when they come to the city, they're easily marked as being an outsider. And also they come from very remote villages where they've never really understood city life and city ways. So when they come to the city for school, they often don't make it. They just don't make it. They end up going home. And so the program I'm involved with is actually was birthed by the Karen people. And I walk alongside them as a co-serve person, helping them with certain topics to help prepare these kids for the world once they finish university. So they live together as an intentional community while they're going to university, and they're in the city. While they do that, what we're doing is a program that really helps develop them as people. And part of that is leadership development, servant leadership development. And we find that during their time with us, which is usually 4 to 5 years, each student will be with us from the time they're a freshman till they graduate university. What we're finding is that there's just this process of their own unique development to know who they are, what they're good at, what they're not good at, and how might they move out into the world to impact whatever community they end up with once they leave university. And a fun story I love to tell is one of our students who really struggled actually with the academic portion of being in the city. He's quite bright, very creative, uniquely gifted in many, many ways, and linguistically he had an incredible ability with language. And he was partway through his agriculture program and actually was teaching the teachers in agriculture. And he came to us and said, I think it's time for me to go out and do agriculture. I'm not so sure I should still stay in school. And normally we probably wouldn't have advised that, yeah, maybe this is a good way for you. But when we looked at him and his who he was uniquely, we could really send him off and say, I think you might be right. I think you're hearing the right things in yourself, although he had been with us for 4 years. So this young man went back to the mountains, back to the hills, where all his people are agricultural, but they really don't know much about agriculture. They follow a lot of the old ways. They're not very, they hadn't been taught or helped in how can we really produce a better crop, how can we be economically better off, how can we really further our abilities to live better, you know. And so this young man, when he went there, now he's a young guy, he's young. And in this culture, you know, young people are kind of down the totem pole. So when he came in, what was so beautiful to watch about his life was he came in and he would meet with these old sages who were out doing agriculture, and he would talk to them, what are you growing, how's it going, have you thought about this? And they really dismissed him. But he started bringing some of what he'd been growing and letting them see it, and they got very curious, like, how did this happen? And then he started teaching them just through relationship about organics, how to grow a better crop, how to be healthy, and how to produce something that was really marketable, and then how to do that cooperatively as a team instead of one little farmer going to the city trying to sell, you know, next guy go over here tries to sell. And he was picked up by the King's Project, and in Thailand the king is a very important figure, and his understanding, the king's way of wanting to help the tribal people through agriculture was to produce these leaders who could come in and help re-educate tribal people on how to do better so that they could live better. And so what ended up happening was he was picked up by the King's Project, the Royal Project, and he is the youngest individual working with them. It's actually in a role of training and teaching other people to work with farmers and things like that. So he's been a fun example when you talk to him, when you talk to this young man and say, what is it that you think impacted you and your ability to go and be successful, or to really have a meaningful, purposeful career in this thing that he loves, because he loves agriculture. And he said it was the Korean Leadership Development Program, because he said, my whole understanding of what it takes to be a leader was turned upside down. And I found out that the ways really to deal with human hearts is to have your heart involved. And so that's just a fun story I like to tell people, because it's a living, breathing example of servant leadership in a context of the poor and the rural tribal people of Thailand.
You want to go to the city and get a higher education, you've got some problems you have to overcome.
My name is Becky Majam, and this is my husband. We work and live in Jos in Nigeria.
I'm Elia Majam. Like Becky said, we live and work in Nigeria, and we've been involved with the training of leaders until about 3 years ago. We met servant leadership. We got introduced to servant leadership, and we have found it very, very helpful in helping young leaders particularly. We work with young leaders, and many of them come to us very frustrated. You know, they feel they've been pressed and not understood where they work by leaders who are very authoritarian. So when they come to us, we are able to listen to them, and we share with them what servant leadership is all about. Listening to them has been very, very helpful. I don't know, can you share anything about?
Yeah, we have been involved also, not just with the youth, but with men and women who live around us in the community, and especially with women who have come on to benefit from our training. And many of them have seen the benefits of this training and have endeavored to go and start off their own little groups as well.
In Africa, where age and position are very important, it's many are impressed when they found that we are older than them, we are more experienced, but we are willing to come down to their level, to listen to what they have to say, the struggles they have, the questions they have, and we're able to help them through those, at the same level, and many have been impressed with that.
The concept and modeling servant leadership.
Hello, my name is Aziz. I am from Afghanistan and participated in this 7 Leadership Conference here in your beautiful country, Kazakhstan. And about 7 Leadership, I'm very much interested for the topic in Afghanistan because you probably know that Afghanistan is a top-down culture that usually when people are in leadership positions, they consider themselves on top and not in a position that they have to serve their employees. But servant leadership is actually kind of bringing this pyramid the opposite way, that if you are in leadership position, your role is to serve your employees. So it's really an interesting topic, and we really are committed to teach it to our young generations in Afghanistan and the young generation of leaders in the country, so they may become servant leaders in the country. In Herat, Afghanistan, we are teaching leadership classes. We have an institute called the Institute for Leadership Development, or ILD, and every year we have a big group of students who get number of classes on servant leadership or based on servant leadership, and that's bringing lots of transformation in the lives of many in our country. Thanks a lot.
Okay. If you look at this map, you can see.
My name is Jonathan Martin.
And I'm Janie Martin.
And we've been serving with CoServe all over the world. We live in the United States, but we travel around the world and get to work with people who are working in many different capacities all over the world.
So I am being able to join my husband now. I just completed my master's degree in counseling so that I could be more equipped to be able to serve people all over the world. There are many people that in different countries that are foreigners, and they find themselves isolated and needing of support. And so I'm just a support person, a role that I can play alongside my husband as he teaches and trains in servant leadership.
I had the opportunity to work with an organization called World Relief. And several years ago, we were able to work with all of their country leaders. And this organization works in some of the poorest places in the world and helps to develop community. And as we went in and worked in helping them understand the servant leadership model and what it looks like, it had a tremendous impact on this organization. And just recently, I have been working with some businessmen in the United States and a videographer who loves to make videos. And as these guys, 3 of them, started working together, I said, hey, what if you were to go work with my friend in World Relief? You have gifts, you have talents, you have abilities that can really make a difference in poor communities. So I had these guys contact my friend in this organization I've been working with in servant leadership, and they were able to use their gifts and talents and travel to Burundi, which is the 2nd or 3rd poorest country in the world, and were able to use their business skills and their videography skills to help a business in the mountains of Burundi become better and stronger and to be able to sell their product, which was coffee. They grew coffee beans, and as it was, they would sell their coffee beans and they would only make a little bit of money because they would sell it to a middleman and to another person. But by using their gifts, they were able to help market this coffee directly and help the whole community succeed. So What other things, hon?
Well, I've seen servant leadership more on a personal level. I've had different people that have been in servant leadership that have come alongside and helped me personally to accomplish things that I had a vision for, things that I desired to do. My husband is a great example of servant leadership in our own lives. As he's learned the servant leadership concepts, he has come alongside and empowered me to be able to finish my schooling, to develop some of my artistic talents and skills, and he is just he's just been such a big support. While years I was at home raising our children and doing women's work at home, and now he is just empowering me to develop myself, and I've really appreciated his servant leadership within our home.
Take our gifts, and my friend's gift was marketing. It was business and marketing.
Hello, my name is Marshall Christensen, and I've been a part of CoServe from the very beginning. In fact, my first involvement in Kazakhstan was in 1996. I had just finished 15 years as president of a college, Warner Pacific College in Portland, Oregon, and the next day I was part of the East Kazakhstan State University, where Dan Ballast was teaching and Yerzhep Mambietkazi was the rector, and he invited me to be provost of the university. Over the years, CoServe International has become more and more involved in servant leadership training and helping young people and business people around the world learn how to develop community. So that's the essence of our mission. And I live in Portland, Oregon, and come frequently to Kazakhstan. I suppose I've been here about 30 times over the years. And what we find is really interesting, that the need for leadership development and training is essential around the world. In fact, I think back about some of the bad leadership. People who used a different methodology, who decided that their purpose as leaders was to command people, compel them to do their will by using power. And so we, Dan Ballast and I, worked with a training program and resources that were leading us in a different direction. And as we thought more about what it meant to be a servant leader, we brought the ideas here to the Kazakh-American Free University, and the student response was wonderful. They really wanted to know what it meant to be a leader and what they could do to prepare themselves for leadership. CoServe has grown since that time because many people started asking, well, what are you doing in Kazakhstan? And that led us to other places. In fact, currently we're here in Ust-Kamenogorsk, Kazakhstan, talking with some of our colleagues. We call them partners, and we have partners here in conference right now, talking about their experience and the model that we're trying to develop and the principles of servant leadership, where they come from and how we can help people practice them. So currently we have people here in Kazakhstan from Philippines and Thailand, Ukraine, Nigeria, Afghanistan, and the United States, as well as Kazakhstan. So that's our history a little bit, and that's my involvement, and I'm a part of the leadership team, a leadership team composed of 4 people, and we welcome your interest. Thank you for paying attention.
show his videos. Thank you.